Thanks a lot. All right. Water's free if you need it. Okay. I guess just for purposes of the record, I'm just going to kind of do a little introduction here about just naming everybody that's here. But I want to make sure I have your name correct. Is it Tou? Is that how you pronounce your first name?
That's correct.
T-O-U?
Yes, sir.
Do you have a middle name?
I do not.
And Thao. Do I have that right? T-H-A-O?
Correct.
Can I get a birth date from you, sir?
1-2-86.
1-2-86. All right. How about an address?
Can I ask you about that? What address do you want him to give? We've had information that there may be threats, so I don't want to have his address become a public record.
Okay. What about phone? Same?
Yeah.
Okay. No worries.
You guys want you can use my office address, the MPD. I know he's no longer employed there, but I don't want to do anything to put him in danger.
I totally understand. All I can do is ask, so I'll respect that. That's fine. So today's date is June 2nd, 2020. The time is 15:05. The BCA case number is 2020-338. This is Special Agent Brent Peterson with Special Agent James Ryerson, FBI Special Agent Blake Hostetter, and we're here with Tou Thao and his attorney, Mr. Robert Pauly. All right. So before we started here, I presented you with that form, the investigative warning form. You had an opportunity to review that?
Yes.
Discuss that prior with your attorney?
Yes, sir.
All right. So is it your understanding that you're here voluntarily?
Yes.
You realize you're not under arrest, nor going to be arrested?
I do understand.
Okay. So everything that we're going to talk about here is on a voluntary basis. Bob, anything you want to add before we kind of get into it, or?
I don't have anything specific to add, thank you.
Okay, great. All right, well, if it's okay with you, I'd just like to kind of start and ask some questions. Usually just kind of start with some background information, if that's okay.
Sure.
Okay. I guess just, can you tell me, like, what level of education you have after high school?
Associate's Art in Law Enforcement from Northampton Community College.
Okay, and when did you get your associate's degree? What year, I guess?
Roughly probably 2008.
2008, okay. And then prior to becoming a police officer in Minneapolis, what did you do for a living?
I did security.
Where at?
I believe Wayland Security was the last name.
Is that here in the Twin Cities?
Correct.
Okay. What year did you get hired by Minneapolis Police?
I believe 2008 was when I got hired as a community service officer.
Okay, and can you just explain what a community service officer is for the city of Minneapolis?
It's kind of a recruitment mechanism to kind of recruit folks from different backgrounds. And I applied and got accepted in. Pretty much is kind of they pay for our education and prep us for the police academy.
Okay, so is that a sworn, licensed position as a community service officer? Okay, and how long were you in that position?
Roughly a year and a half.
Year and a half? Okay, and this would have been 08 into about 09 or so?
Yep.
Okay. Do you have any prior military experience?
No.
Were you ever a police officer anywhere else other than the city of Minneapolis?
No.
Okay. So after the CSO or community service officer position, what's the next, I guess, step or progression of becoming a police officer?
A community service officer gets, they pass and get licensed, and then they get promoted to a recruit officer.
Okay.
Attend the police academy.
Roughly, do you remember when you started the recruit academy?
I'd say close 2009.
2009? Okay, and how long is the recruit academy?
About 4 to 6 months.
4 to 6 months, okay.
Or
and
trial off.
No, just rough estimate's fine. So what's kind of the day-to-day at the academy? Like, what do you do at the academy? What do you learn at the academy?
Pretty much just you kind of get the tools to learn to become a police officer.
Okay.
Learn policy and skills that will eventually be used into the street.
Like what are some examples of some things that you would learn at the academy?
Policy, defensive tactics, scenario-based training,
Firearms. Okay. Is there a component of the academy that's like scenario-based learning?
Yes.
Did you ever have any formal training at the academy, or even maybe after the academy, in crisis intervention or de-escalation techniques or anything like that?
Yes, the police department at some point had sent the whole department through a crisis intervention training.
Okay. Do you recall how lengthy of a training that was?
I believe it was a week.
It was a 40-hour or a week long, and you successfully completed that?
Yes, sir.
Do you approximately know what year that was?
I do not recall offhand.
Was it after the police academy?
It was...
Or during the academy?
I believe they have a little part, the CIT training.
Yep.
But most of most of the intensive training occurred at, I don't know, maybe the 5-year mark of my career.
Okay. Okay.
Just roughly.
All right. So you were already on the job on the street, and you went through that. Was that a voluntary thing, or did they send?
It was a mandatory thing.
Mandatory thing. Okay. And you, just so I'm clear, you did successfully complete that?
Yes.
Okay. And when you say CIT, we're talking about crisis intervention training?
Correct.
Okay. And we'll come back to that a little bit. So in the academy, are you taught like first aid and CPR and things like that?
Yes.
What's like the highest, or what level are you at as far as medical training?
Pretty much it's just first aid, and then refreshers.
Okay.
Every few years.
So
first aid.
Okay, so basic like CPR, first aid. You're not like an EMT or higher than that.
No.
Okay. And is that something that they train you in the academy and then you refresh every so often?
Correct.
Is that a yearly refresher?
I want to say it's bi-yearly.
Okay.
I don't remember offhand.
Okay, understood. So after the academy period ends, what's kind of the next step in your training?
You go through the field training officer school.
Okay. And is the abbreviation for that FTO?
Correct.
Okay. Approximately how long is that process for you?
I believe it's like 6 months process.
So you have 4 to 6 months in the training academy, and then another another approximate 6 months.
Roughly, yep.
And then just kind of generally, kind of high level, what do you do in FTO training? How does that work?
Pretty much you kind of follow a mentor officer, experienced officer.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of just teach you the ropes of being a police officer in the real world.
Is it the same training officer through the entire process, or do you?
No.
How do they mix that up?
I believe every month you cycle through different training officers.
Okay. So are you in different parts of the city and different shifts and things like that, or do you kind of just stay on the same?
I believe you're assigned to a precinct for first a few months, and then you get reassigned to a different precinct or different exposures.
So during your FTO process, what precincts were you assigned?
I was assigned 4th, 1st, and also 3rd.
4th, 1st, and 3rd. Okay, so 4th precinct is what part of the city then?
North Minneapolis.
1st is what?
Downtown.
Downtown area, and then 3rd is South Minneapolis. Okay. Did you successfully complete your FTO training, or did you have to get kind of extra training, or?
I did extra training.
Like an extension, I think they call it.
Correct.
Okay. And how long of an extension was it?
I don't recall offhand. Maybe like a month or less.
Okay. Obviously, you successfully completed it. When you are going through FTO training, are you a fully licensed police officer at that time?
Yes.
Okay. So, what was your most current role with the police department? What precinct were you out of?
The 3rd precinct, and patrol officer, responsible for 911 response.
Okay. What shift were you working?
Middle watch.
What are those hours?
4 to 2 a.m. in the morning.
4 to 2 a.m. Okay. And did you have a specific district that you were assigned?
Yes, the Sector 3.
Sector 3. Can you just, what are the borders of, or what's the area that's Sector 3?
Border is, the east border is Hiawatha, the south border is Highway 62, the west border is 35W, and the north border is 42nd Street East.
Okay. Is that a fairly busy area of the city?
I would say it's more a quieter area.
Of the precinct, I should say. Okay. It's a little quieter area?
Correct.
All right. So, are you confined to that district, or are you allowed to kind of go up throughout the precinct?
We're not necessarily confined to the district. We're just assigned to take calls specifically to that district and patrol that area, but we're not necessarily mandated to.
So, I mean, the incident we're going to talk about here that happened on the 25th, that happened in the area of 38th in Chicago. Would that be outside of your normal patrol district?
Yes.
Is it common, though, to respond as a backup or assist other officers in other parts of the precinct?
That's correct.
Okay. Go ahead. Did you have any additional responsibilities with the police department? Any specialty assignments, or were you yourself a field training officer? Or anything like that?
No specific specialized training.
Okay. All right. What about a patrol partner? Did you typically have a partner?
Whoever's assigned to, we're all assigned different squads. Pretty much, there's 4, 5 to 6 people that may be assigned to it, and based on who's working that day, it's whoever's on your squad.
Okay.
You're assigned to work with.
Did it tend to work out that you'd be with 1 or 2 officers generally all the time, or did you constantly have different partners?
I would say the middle. Since I went to middle watch, I've gone through several different officers.
Okay. Okay. So on the 25th, what we're here to talk about, did you have a partner that day?
Yes.
Who was that?
Officer Chauvin.
Had you worked with Officer Chauvin previous to that day?
Yes.
Okay. Have you known him for a while?
When I went to 3rd Precinct Middle Watch, that's when I first met him. And
when did you go to 3rd Precinct Middle Watch?
Went from Dog Watch to Middle Watch.
Okay.
So I'd say roughly 3 years ago was when I transitioned over.
So you've been on Middle Watch for about 3 years?
Correct.
Okay. And so you've known Officer Chauvin for about that amount of time?
Yes.
And were you in a regular, semi-regular partnership with him at times?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know him outside of work?
We don't really talk outside of work. I don't really talk much outside.
Don't socialize
too much.
Okay. Is he related to you in any way?
No.
No.
Okay. His wife is not related to us. If you're asking.
We're hearing these rumors,
Yes.
and I wanted to just figure if that's true. It's not true. Okay. As a patrol officer in the 3rd Precinct, Middle Watch, do you wear a uniform?
Yes.
Do you drive a marked squad car?
I do.
Okay. Can you just describe for us kind of what your uniform looks like, your kind of day-to-day uniform that you would wear?
Navy pants, sky blue shirt, outer sky blue vest, and pretty much your standard police equipment.
So, as far as the standard police equipment, you're referring to your belt?
Yep, belt.
Can you just walk us around what you carry in your belt?
My right side is my handgun. On my stomach right side here, it's my mace. My left side quadrant here is my magazine. I have also a handcuff right here as well next to my gun. And then another pair of handcuffs, my back left side, along with my radio and flashlight.